Welcome to the Cheating Wife Stories channel. Piddles, scattered on the hardwood floor like a trail of little red arrows. I see them before I see the door itself, and my heart clenches so tight I can't breathe. Who leaves rose petals in a hallway like this? My grip on the doorknob falters. My hand trembles. It's not sweat. I'm long past sweaty panic. It's something colder, deeper, like a fist lodged in my chest. I force myself to inhale. Short gasps. In, out, in. The overhead light flickers, and a swirl of air from the AC lifts the petals, making them flutter. I have no right to feel this raw, or this stunned. I've sensed the truth for weeks, maybe months, but seeing these petals is like a cinematic scene from a cheap romance movie, except I'm no leading man, and the next lines won't be scripted for a happy ending. I press an ear to the door. Silence. My fingers twist the knob. It's unlocked. Part of me wants to barge in, raise a storm, demand answers. Another part begs me to walk away. Go for a drive. Pretend I've never seen any of this, but I'm done pretending. 3 weeks ago, I read her text messages. One note from her phone. A simple line. Don't forget to buy him something nice. He's been so good to us. So good to us. It swirls in my mind, tangling with everything I thought I knew. I should have confronted her then. I should have demanded clarity. Instead, I stood silent, heart pounding, choosing to watch from the shadows. I turn the knob. The door opens soundlessly. Darkness greets me, but not total darkness. Candles flicker somewhere in the distance, casting dancing shadows across the hallway. I almost smell cologne, sweet and cloying. The same odor that used to hang in the air after he left. The same odor I try to ignore, telling myself maybe it was just a new cleaning solution or a different perfume she'd tried. Step by step, I make my way into the bedroom. My bedroom. But it doesn't belong to me tonight. The sheets are rumpled. The candlelight reveals a swirl of red and gold. And there they are. Her silhouette and his. It takes a second for my eyes to adjust, but I recognize the shape of her shoulder, the curve of her neck. He's behind her, his body pressed to hers, one arm around her waist. Both of them freeze when they see me in the doorway. No words, not at first. She's Evelyn, my wife. The only woman I've ever loved. And here she is, with Daniel Clark, her event planner, the man with the ready grin, and the perfectly slicked hair. Their eyes meet mine. In that moment, the entire world tilts on its axis, but everything feels oddly quiet. I notice details. The red petals scattered across the floor, a half-empty wine glass on the nightstand, the flicker of a candle reflecting off the mirror. I feel my heart hammering, a thunder in my ears, but I don't move. She opens her mouth, breathes a shaky whisper. Tom. That's all she manages. A single heartbeat passes. I stare at them, bodies half entwined, the betrayal so evident, it feels like a punch in the gut. I don't scream. I don't lash out. I just stand there, breathing hard, my mind racing from memory to memory. Our wedding day, the birth of our son, the nights we used to curl up on the couch, all unraveling in front of me. He reaches for a shirt, maybe some instinct to cover up. She turns away from him, like she's ashamed, but not fully letting go. My throat feels like sandpaper. I want to say something profound, or vicious, or accusing, but I can't find the words. I just keep staring, and in that silence, every second is an agony. Daniel moves first. Tom, listen, He stumbles, awkward, guilty. I catch the faintest stench of fear. Good, at least he has the decency to quake. But part of me hates him less than I hate her in this moment, because she was my wife. She was my partner. I gave her my trust. She tries to speak, voice trembling. Let me explain. And she looks at me with those hazel eyes. Eyes that once lit up whenever I came home from work. I find my voice, low and steady. Explain what? My question echoes, bouncing off the walls. No one answers. Because there is no explanation. Not one that matters anyway. Not one that can repair the damage. So I turn around, walk out. Past the pedals, past the wine, past the sweetness of the candle that now sickens me. My footsteps fade down the hallway, and I sense them behind me, uncertain. Maybe they're waiting for me to snap, but there's no need. I'm silent. I hear Evelyn call my name again, but I don't turn back. My mind is a swirl of dark space and flickering lights, like a film reel stuttering from scene to scene. I don't sleep that night. I wander the streets in my car, engine humming softly as I drive aimlessly. My phone rings. I don't pick up. I just keep going until dawn breaks. There's a park near the outskirts of the city. I pull in, park under a towering oak, and let the sunrise burn my eyes. Only then do I check my phone. Texts from her, missed calls. Apologies, confessions, none of them read in detail, just glimpses on the lock screen. Inside, everything is numb. I'm Tom Harrington, 42 years old, father of a boy who turned 5 last month, husband to a woman who shares my home, my finances, my entire identity. But now it feels like I'm a ghost in my own life. The pain is so acute, it's dulled me to everything else. A bitter laugh escapes my throat. I recall the moment I first suspected something was off. A message that flashed across Evelyn's phone while she was in the shower. A message from Daniel, reminding her about that gift, praising her for keeping secrets so well. She brushed it off as a planning detail for a charity event. I bought it. Didn't want to question further. But suspicion is like a tiny splinter. You can ignore it, yet every time you move, it digs in a little deeper. Then I found that second message. Don't forget to buy him something nice. He's been so good to us. My instincts roared to life. This wasn't about me. It was about Daniel. But my mind refused to accept it. I stayed silent, retreated into a fortress of calm. Maybe I was hoping to be wrong. I went so far as to buy a DNA kit. For my son. He had Evelyn's eyes, or so I thought. But I told myself it was just a way to confirm some genealogical curiosity. The results were absolute. Not my blood. I can't put into words how that felt. Like a piece of me died that day. The father in me that had taken pride in every bedtime story, every little league registration form, every scraped knee. The child I'd comforted when he cried, the boy who called me Dad every morning. I crumpled into the bathroom floor when I read those results, but I didn't confront Evelyn. Not yet. I had to be sure. I had to be methodical, so I locked my heartbreak behind a wall of steel. Then I contacted an attorney, or two. Because if war was coming, I intended to wage it calmly, precisely. Now, I sit in the passenger seat of my own silence, remembering what I saw last night. The pedals, the candlelight, the shape of them in my bed. It's humiliating, but the humiliation is overshadowed by a deeper ache. Loss. I still love her. God help me, I do. I can't erase the memory of her laughter, the warmth she brought to my life for so many years. But that love is buried beneath anger and betrayal. By the time I return to the house, morning light floods the living room. Evelyn is there, perched on the sofa, eyes bloodshot. She's wearing one of my old sweatshirts, as if trying to remember how to be my wife again. The air smells like stale coffee and regret. She opened her mouth to speak, but I raise a hand. No, not yet. Her eyes brim with tears. She stands. There's a moment where she looks like she might rush me, cling to me, but something in my face must stop her. Instead, she steps aside, letting me pass. I go upstairs to my office, rummage through papers. One neatly labeled folder sits on my desk. Harrington versus Harrington. The legal motions are half done, courtesy of an expensive attorney who promised to handle everything discreetly. I breathe in, force myself to stay calm. My mind is swirling with dread, but I hold it in check. This is the path I've chosen. I head back downstairs. She's standing in the same spot, arms wrapped around her torso like she's freezing. "Tom," she begins, voice trembling. "Please, can we talk?" I glance at the clock. 7:15 in the morning. My entire life feels unreal. "All right. Talk." She tries to find words, but all that comes out is a broken sob. When she does speak, it's a rush of apologies. "I never wanted you to find out this way. It just happened. I felt so alone." I clench my teeth. Alone? In a 3,000 square foot house, with a husband who pays for everything you need. You felt alone. She flinches. "It's not about the money. You were never home. Always working. Always distant. I didn't mean for this to go so far." My voice is ice. "But it did go far enough to conceive a child, didn't it?" She looks up, eyes wide with shock. You know." "Yes, Evelyn. I know." I stare at her, waiting for an explosion of excuses. Instead, she wilts, tears streaming down her cheeks. There's no denial left. "I'm sorry," she manages, voice raw. "I was going to tell you eventually. I couldn't bear to break you. You're such a good man." I slam my hand against the back of the couch, the only outward expression of rage I allow myself. "Stop," I say, so quiet it's nearly a whisper. "Don't try to coat this with compliments." My pulse is pounding. I force myself to step away. "I can't look at you right now." The coffee mug on the table trembles as I brush past. I notice the ring on her finger, still there. She must see the direction of my gaze because she covers her hand, as if protecting the ring from my scorn. She sobs. "I never wanted this to happen." I believe her. She's not a monster. But it doesn't matter anymore. "Get out," I say softly. Her eyes widen. "Tom, leave. Go stay with your lover. I'll have my lawyer send you the details." She tries to protest, stuttering about finding a friend's place, about not wanting to uproot our boy. Her boy. My mind twists at that. He's still my child in every way that counts except the biological. But for now, I can't bear to look at either of them. I repeat, "Get out," with a finality that makes my own stomach churn. She leaves without packing more than a handbag, tears in her eyes, posture slumped. I stand at the window, arms crossed, watching her pull out of the driveway. Daniel isn't here to pick her up. She drives off alone. And just like that, my wife is gone from the house we built together. I wander the house, the quiet assaulting me. Every photograph on the mantel shows a life that never truly existed. Our wedding photo. She's beaming in a white dress. I'm wearing a black tux. The first Christmas with our son, me holding him up to the camera with that proud fatherly grin. All these illusions, I yank them off the shelves, each frame rattling. But I don't smash them. Something inside me can't quite commit to destroying them. I just place them all in a cardboard box and push it aside, like a coffin for my memories. Days pass. Time becomes blurry. I move through them in a mechanical trance, meet with lawyers, sign documents, compile evidence. The legal process is almost civilized. Letterheads, thick envelopes, polite phone calls. I focus on that because it's a shield against my own heartbreak. My attorney, a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s named Mackenzie, outlines the strategy. "We'll file for divorce on grounds of infidelity," she says. "We'll also address paternity issues in the documents. You can disclaim paternal responsibility, but understand the emotional and financial ramifications." Financial ramifications, emotional ramifications, words that echo in the too-bright office. I stare at the polished mahogany table. My reflection stares back. I look older, lines etched around my eyes, the gray at my temples more pronounced. "Do whatever needs to be done," I say. Mackenzie nods. "We'll serve her the papers, arrange depositions. Expect pushback. She may claim spousal support, though the affair works against her in this state's court. We'll see." I nod, expressionless. This is all so cold, so formal. But it's the only way I know to respond. I can't scream or cry. I can't drown my sorrows in whiskey. Somehow, that feels beneath me. I want her to feel the weight of this betrayal, not from my fists or from heated arguments, but from the unstoppable force of the law. It's a strange kind of revenge, but it's the path I've chosen. The first time I see Evelyn after that morning is at a scheduled mediation session in a sleek conference room downtown. She walks in, eyes puffy, but wearing a professional gray suit that fits her like a glove. She's trying to project composure, but I see her trembling hands. Daniel is not with her. Our attorneys greet each other with cool politeness, then usher us to seats. I sit across from Evelyn, forcing myself to meet her gaze. The mediator drones on about potential property division, custody arrangements for a child who, biologically, isn't mine. Evelyn tries to speak up about letting me see our boy. She says he loves me, he misses me. My heart constricts at those words, but I remain stoic. I can't let her see how much that hits me. Eventually, we break for coffee. I step out into the hallway, my mind spinning. Evelyn follows. Her voice is hushed, urgent. "Tom, can I talk to you privately?" I turn, seeing the hollow look in her eyes. There's no crowd here, just the sterile corridor with flickering fluorescent lights. "Go ahead," I say. She takes a shaky breath. "I'm sorry. I said it before, but I need you to believe me. I didn't mean to hurt you like this." A bitter laugh escapes me. "You didn't mean to." My voice rises for the first time. "When you slept with him in our bed, when you had his child and passed him off as mine for 5 years, what part of that wasn't meant to hurt me?" Her hand covers her mouth, tears starting again. "I was lost. I swear, I never wanted to ruin us." "It's done." I cut in, voice as cold as I can manage. "It's ruined." She gives a soft sob, glancing down at her wedding ring, which she's still wearing. I know. For a split second, I want to reach out, wipe her tears away, hold her like I used to. But that impulse withers under the memory of her betrayal. I walk away, leaving her trembling in the hallway. Nighttime is the worst. I lie awake in the quiet house, our bed feeling too big, too empty. Every shadow, every creak, reminds me of her presence. Once, I would have welcomed her into my arms after a long day of work, feeling her warmth, inhaling the scent of her hair. Now the ghost of those moments weighs on me like a lid blanket. I keep seeing the rose petals scattered across the floor, that moment frozen in time. The flicker of a candle, the hush of two bodies pulling apart. It gnaws at me. A lesser man might have thrown them both out a window or staged some dramatic confrontation. But I didn't. Instead, I've become this walking shell. I compare who I was then to who I am now, and I barely recognize myself. I used to be proud, maybe even a little vain. Now I'm a hollow figure, driven only by the dull pursuit of revenge through legalities and motions. I watch old detective films to numb my brain, but they only remind me that I'm the detective in my own life, searching for clues to a puzzle I already solved. Sleep comes in fits. Dreams swirl with images of my mother, who died too young. She used to tell me, "Never let bitterness consume you, Tommy." I feel her warning echoing in my chest. But bitterness is all I have left. The depositions follow. Evelyn sits in a conference room, answering questions from my lawyer. I watch through glass, arms folded. I see her eyes glisten when the attorney presses about the timeline, about Daniel's involvement, about how often they met. Over and over, the details spill out, each one a small dagger in my gut. Sometimes she glances at me, as if asking for mercy. I look away. She tries to explain that the affair started out of emotional need, that it was a terrible mistake. She insists that her feelings for Daniel were never as strong as her feelings for me. I almost laugh at the paradox. How can you love someone while sleeping with another, bearing his child? Maybe some men can understand that, but I can't. Then comes Daniel's turn. He sits at the long table, wearing a crisp shirt and an apologetic smile that makes my blood boil. My lawyer asks about the child, about his knowledge of the affair. He stammers, tries to downplay it. But the DNA test is conclusive. I stare at him through the glass, seeing the sweat bead on his forehead. He can't charm his way out of this. He knows he's in over his head. What stings most is that a part of me doesn't even blame him. He's just the symptom of something broken between Evelyn and me. But that doesn't ease my anger. 3 months crawl by. I bury myself in work, meetings, phone calls. The house is quiet. The photograph's gone. I catch glimpses of our boy. Her boy. On the rare occasions he visits with her to pick up some belongings. He runs up to me, hugging my waist, calling me Dad. My throat tightens every time. I bend down, pat his head, force a smile. I can't say I'm not his father. I can't. He's too young to understand. But a voice inside me whispers the truth. He has Daniel's blood in his veins, not mine. The lawyers talk about custody, about whether I want rights. It's complicated, legally and emotionally. I find myself torn between love for a child I raised and the torment of living a lie. In the end, I let the arrangement stand that I can see him if I choose, but I hold no legal responsibility. It's not perfect. Nothing about this is perfect. The final hearing arrives. A cold morning in October. The leaves outside the courthouse swirl in a riot of orange and yellow, an echo of the swirling in my chest. Evelyn and I sit across from each other at a polished table in a small courtroom. The judge is methodical, reciting the terms of the divorce, the disclaiming of paternity, the division of assets. My attorney stands at my side, quiet satisfaction on her face. She got me everything I demanded. Evelyn looks across at me, tears glistening. She says nothing. I can't read her expression. Guilt? Regret? Love? Maybe a mix of all three. My mind flickers to the day we married. The same softness in her gaze, but back then it was pure joy. Now it's sorrow. The gavel sounds. Just like that. It's over. We walk out, trailing behind our respective attorneys. She tries to catch my arm in the hallway, but I pull away. I murmur, "We're done," so quietly I can barely hear myself. Then I walk out the door, stepping into the crisp air. I expect some rush of triumph. After all, I've effectively punished her. I shielded myself financially. I severed the marriage with minimal collateral damage on my side. But I feel only emptiness. I stand on the courthouse steps, watching my breath form clouds in the autumn chill. A week later, I'm standing in what was once our bedroom, rummaging through closets. The space is stripped bare of her presence. No perfume on the dresser, no delicate hair ties scattered around. Just me and the silence. And then I notice something, an old shoebox at the back of the closet. I pop it open. Photographs, letters, small keepsakes from the early days of our relationship. There's a picture of Evelyn and me at a county fair, arms around each other, glowing with that naive happiness. A letter in her handwriting, from our first anniversary, telling me how I made her feel safe. I hold these relics in my hands, and I feel a wave of grief so strong it doubles me over. I realize I still love her, even after all. Maybe not with the same innocence, but something in me can't just flip a switch and kill those memories. The bitterness stabs my heart again, a reminder of her betrayal. But right behind it is that warmth, like an old scar that still aches, but also reminds you that once there was something worth fighting for. I slump to the floor, shoebox by my side, and let myself feel it. The tears don't come. I shed them all inside silently. But the pain is there, raw as ever. When her father dies in November, she calls me. It's late. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with half a cup of coffee gone cold. The phone rings, and I see her name on the screen. I almost ignore it, but I pick up. "Tom," she whispers. I hear tears in her voice. "Dad's gone." I knew he'd been ill. She visited him in the hospital several times, but we never spoke about it. "I'm sorry," I say softly, and I mean it. He'd been good to me. He was kind, supportive, always teased me about my stiff posture. I just... She breaks off, sobbing. I didn't know who else to call. Daniel's out of town on business, and... She cuts herself short, probably realizing how that might sound to me. A strange calm settles over me. I recall the man who used to be my father-in-law, how he once gave me old fishing lures from his tackle box, taught me how to tie a decent knot. Despite everything that's happened, a sliver of empathy emerges. Do you need me to come over? There's a pause, a small, grateful breath. Please, I'm at his house. I go. Not because I expect reconciliation, or because I want to relive the pain, but because I owe that man respect. And maybe a small part of me can't bear to let her go through this alone. When I arrive, she's on the couch, eyes swollen, wearing a black sweater. She looks fragile. The house smells of old books and the faint residue of a life gone. We talk quietly about funeral arrangements, share memories of her father. There's a moment where our eyes meet, and for the first time in months, it feels almost natural. I see a flicker of the woman I married. She tries to apologize again, but I gently shake my head. Let's not, I say. Not tonight. She nods, tears glistening. Without thinking, I reach out and take her hand. She squeezes mine back. We sit like that for a while, two broken people in a silent house, mourning different losses. Eventually, I stand to leave. She follows me to the door. Her voice trembles. Thank you for coming. I give a curt nod, unsure what else to say. Then I step into the cold night, my breath mingling with the darkness. Back at my place, my house. Time crawls forward. Winter sets in. I bury myself in work again, finalizing year-end projects, signing off on deals. My colleagues see the tension in my eyes, but they don't ask. Corporate America rarely pries into personal pain. I go through motions, eat, sleep, occasionally see a friend for a round of golf. But nothing feels the same. Sometimes, I catch myself missing the noise of family life. Our boy laughing, Evelyn humming in the kitchen. The emptiness weighs me down, but I hold firm. I made a choice. If I tried to reconcile now, I'd spend every day remembering how she betrayed me. The ring that once symbolized unity is tossed in a drawer, though I can't quite bring myself to pawn it. She calls me once in December, asking if I'd like to meet our son. She phrases it carefully, our son, but we both know the biological truth. Yet my love for him doesn't just vanish. I agree to see him, though I stipulate it's on neutral ground. We meet at a park on a frosty afternoon. He's wearing a bright red coat, bounding toward me with open arms. It's like nothing changed for him. He has no concept that I'm not his father by blood. And part of me can't stand that. Another part embraces it. I scoop him up, spinning him around, forcing a smile that's at least half genuine. Evelyn hangs back, watching us. I sense her eyes on me, her longing. She tries to approach, but I keep the conversation directed toward the boy. We talk about his favorite toys, the new cartoon he loves, the upcoming holiday. Eventually, the cold wind picks up, and I hand him back to her, stepping away. I feel her gaze, hear her soft sigh. But I'm not ready to build any bridge. Christmas drifts by like a hollow formality. A small, artificial tree stands in the living room. No lights outside. I skip the usual gatherings, avoid my colleagues' parties. Every invitation feels like a chore. Instead, I hunker down, flipping through old photo albums I found in that shoebox. The memories swirl, an avalanche of times that once brought me joy. Now they only remind me of the gaping hole in my chest. On a whim, I check local listings for houses in other neighborhoods. Maybe moving away could be the fresh start I need. But the more I think about it, the more I realize I don't want to run. This is my home, my life. I worked for all of it. I won't let her betrayal force me out. New Year's Eve arrives, and I sit alone in the living room, a glass of whiskey in hand. Midnight is minutes away. The TV shows a countdown in Times Square. Confetti, bright lights, a million strangers celebrating. It's all background noise to me. My phone buzzes. A text from Evelyn. "Happy New Year, Tom. I'm sorry for everything." I stare at the message, heart twisting. I still love her, despite everything. That truth sits in my chest like a stubborn anchor. But love isn't enough to mend what she broke. I power off my phone. The digital clock flips to 12 o'clock. Fireworks burst on TV. I raise my glass to no one in particular, then knock back the whiskey. By February, the legal process is practically wrapped up. The divorce is finalized. Custody is a moot point in the eyes of the court. She and Daniel are a known couple now, though they keep a low profile. I hear rumors that his event planning business took a hit after the scandal. Apparently, word got out that he was sleeping with a client and fathered her child. Reputation matters in that industry. I should feel satisfaction knowing he's struggling, but I just feel tired. The anger that once fueled me has cooled to a hollow resignation. My life has become a series of tasks. Wake, work, handle finances, watch TV, sleep. No waves, no storms, just a flat ocean of routine. One evening, I get a surprise call from Daniel. I almost don't answer, but curiosity wins. He starts out awkward, apologizing. "Tom, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but what do you want?" I keep my voice flat. He sighs. "Look, I'm sorry. For everything. I know that's not enough, but I need you to know I never wanted to hurt you like this. I didn't realize the kid was mine until Evelyn told me the truth." I say nothing. My silence is enough to convey what I think of that excuse. He continues, "I care about him, but I know how important you are to him. I hope you won't vanish from his life." I close my eyes, fingers gripping the phone. I hear a sincerity in Daniel's voice that I didn't expect. Still, I can't let him off the hook so easily. "You should have thought of that before crawling into my bed." A pause. Then, "I deserve that. Maybe more. I'm just saying, if you ever want to see him, I won't stand in the way." Evelyn feels the same. My throat feels tight. I manage a curt reply. "That's between me and him." Then I hang up. His words linger. I hate him for many things, but the boy complicates it all. Maybe I need some kind of closure there. Spring creeps in, the snow melting around the suburban lawns. My mind wanders often to my mother's final words about living without bitterness. I realize I've let bitterness consume me these past months. Maybe I needed it to survive the initial shock. But it's getting heavier by the day. I'm not sure how to let it go. One Saturday, I find myself driving aimlessly again, passing old neighborhoods, letting the sun wash over the windshield. Without planning it, I end up at the park where I first took our son to feed ducks years ago. It's quiet now, only a few kids on the playground. I get out, stroll to the pond, watch the water ripple. A father stands near the edge, holding his daughter's hand, guiding her as she tosses breadcrumbs. It stings to watch, but I can't tear my eyes away. That used to be me, I think. I remember the giggles, the tiny squeals of delight. I remember feeling so certain that we were a perfect family. I close my eyes, fighting back the dull ache. Even if he's not mine by blood, that boy is part of my life. I call Evelyn. My voice shakes, but I manage to keep it steady. "I want to see him more regularly," I say. "If that's okay with you." She pauses, then I hear relief in her tone. "Of course. He misses you like crazy." We arrange a schedule. I won't lie, it's awkward. When I pick him up, Daniel is sometimes there, offering a strained hello. I mostly ignore him. Evelyn tries to be civil. The boy leaps into my arms, chattering about his day at kindergarten, the new friends he's made. He's bright, energetic, and I can't help feeling a father's pride, even if the law says otherwise. I take him to a baseball game once, and his excitement is so pure it cracks my heart open. As he shouts for the home team, munching on popcorn, He glances up at me with that look. Total trust. I ruffle his hair. He's innocent in all of this. I can't punish him for mistakes the adults made. So I keep seeing him, forging a fragile new normal. Months roll by. The final threads of the divorce settlement are concluded, bills paid, accounts separated. Evelyn no longer tries to fix things with me, understanding it's beyond repair. We speak only about the boy, scheduling visits, that sort of thing. She's subdued, carrying regret like a constant burden. Daniel tries to be polite, but I set firm boundaries. If my relationship with the child continues, it's on my terms, not his. Meanwhile, I start living again. Slowly. I focus on fitness, picking up the weights in the garage, running laps around the neighborhood. I reconnect with old friends, playing golf on Sunday afternoons, reintroducing small joys to my life. The emptiness remains, but it's not as suffocating as before, like a wound slowly scabbing over. Sometimes I see Evelyn around town. She'll be at the grocery store or the gas station, and we exchange polite nods. Our eyes meet with an unspoken sadness. She made her choice, and I made mine. One day, I'm cleaning out the attic when I find the dusty box of wedding keepsakes. There's the dried wedding bouquet, the menu from our reception, an old Polaroid of Evelyn in her dress, grinning ear to ear. Once, these items represented hope and promise. Now they're relics of a dream that turned sour. I feel that twinge of love again, the memory of simpler times. But I also feel a wave of acceptance. People change. Lies infiltrate. We do what we must to survive the fallout. I carry the box downstairs, place it with the other remnants of that life. Maybe one day I'll burn them, or donate them, or bury them. For now, I just store them away. Summer arrives, hot and bright. The hush in the house feels less oppressive, more a companionable silence. I wander from room to room, noticing the leftover marks of pictures once hung on the walls. The place is truly mine now, albeit haunted by echoes of her laughter. I expect them to fade, but some nights I still hear her voice in my head, reminding me of better days. I'm a different man now. I used to be proud of my capacity for warmth, for fatherhood, for building a stable life. Then I discovered what I thought was mine wasn't really mine. I responded by burying her in legal motions, removing her from my life with a ruthless efficiency I didn't know I possessed. Yet beneath that armor, my heart still aches for what might have been. I compare myself to who I was a year ago. The bright-eyed corporate project manager, joking with colleagues, planning family vacations, believing in trust and loyalty. That man is gone, replaced by someone older, sharper, colder. And in the quiet corners of my mind, I realize that part of me still loves Evelyn, or the memory of who she used to be. Maybe that contradiction will follow me forever. A final confrontation arrives on a random Sunday. I'm carrying groceries into the house when she pulls up out front, alone. She steps out, hesitates at the curb. I see the tension in her posture, shoulders drawn, face pale. She's holding a small bag, some official-looking envelope inside. I meet her at the threshold. "You didn't call," I say, not unkindly. She clutches the envelope. "I got this from the insurance. It's some final paperwork for your new policy. They sent it to our old address." I nod, taking it from her. There's a beat of silence, the summer wind rustling. She looks around, noticing the changes, the absent photos, the slightly overgrown lawn. She meets my gaze. "You look good," she says softly. "Healthier, I mean. Less tense." I shrug, not sure how to respond. "I'm doing all right." She swallows, tears glistening but not falling. I wanted to say, I'm truly sorry. For everything. I know I've said it before, but I need you to hear me now. My jaw tightens. "I hear you." A faint sigh escapes her. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that I still care about you, in my own messed up way. And I know we can't fix it, but She breaks off, fumbling for words. Something in my chest softens, but the bitterness remains. I know, I reply, and believe it or not, I care about you too. Part of me always will. Her hand drifts to her ring finger, which is now bare. I wish we could rewind time. Me too, I say, but we can't. We stand there, a moment of shared regret. Then she nods, turning to go. I watch her walk away, part of me wishing I could run after her, hold her, pretend none of this happened. But I don't. Some lines can't be uncrossed. I step inside. The final scene is just me in this house. The pictures are gone. The ring is in a drawer. The child I love is not mine, but I still see him sometimes, still hold him when I can. I'm alone, but not broken. I survived the betrayal. The hush of the rooms is my new companion, a reminder that illusions can crumble and life goes on. I let out a long, slow breath, setting the envelope on the kitchen counter. Glancing around, I remember every spot that once held a memory of her. I close my eyes, the echo of her laughter flitting through my mind. A faint smile tugs at my lips. Painful, but not entirely bitter. I open my eyes, feeling the dryness in my soul, the calmness of acceptance that's taken root. I still love her, in some hidden corner of my heart. Maybe I always will. But I'm done chasing ghosts. I walk to the front door, lock it, and lean my forehead against the wood. The silence is heavy, but it's my silence. Maybe that's the scariest part, discovering that I can live with it. I straighten up, shoulders squaring, and let the final piece of tension drain from me. It's just me now, and somehow, that's enough.